Hello, fellow YouTubers, and welcome back to Power Up Gamers. I'm Driven D&D, the Disabled DM, and today I'm doing a video response to Elizabeth. We had a private discussion about the difficulties of DMing because she was curious, having never DM'd, how hard it would be to DM a session and a campaign, a one-shot, and kind of some of the things to expect that could rise up that often give DMs trouble. And I see on a lot of channels people asking about advice for DMing. So I thought it'd be a good idea to do a short video response that kind of summarizes some of the things I talked about with her. So to actually run a session isn't that hard. You need players, of course, and you need to have something to run, whether it's a big concept and letting your players kind of tell you where they want to go, or whether you're running a module or you do a bunch of prep work. But there's difficulties that come up even before you run a session. And the first thing is you need players. And this isn't too hard to accomplish if you belong to some of the online role-playing communities, such as Absolute Tabletop, the one-shot group on Facebook, the RPG A plus Hangout group on Google Plus, among others. So usually finding players isn't difficult, but then you come into scheduling, and scheduling can be difficult. What I suggest for DMs is to find a time and day that you can set aside and set it for that time and day. And then you find players who can make it at that time. Often it's hard to address times for a group if you have people you want uninvolved. So it's much better to go based off your own schedule and take whoever can make it. For an ongoing campaign, of course, the first session you guys should decide a time and day that works best for everyone in the group. Once you've accomplished these things, you know when you're gonna play, you know you have players, then it's a matter of coming up with an idea that you want to run. And you can make this step as difficult or as easy as you like. For example, for one shot I ran, which happened to turn out to be a rather good one, and the start of one of the campaigns I'm currently running, called Living with Demons on Wednesday Nights. Is I had going into this first session was I knew at some time during the session I wanted each player to face their own death, that it was very real to them, that they were about to die. And that I wanted to start them out instead of in a tavern being captured aboard a Viking slave ship. And then they had to fight their way off and escape. That's all I had for the entire session. And it ended up not only did the players manage to do that, they tried to take a longboat that and ended up sinking, and they had to try to swim through a dangerous bay that was filled with poisonous rock spinefish, very sharp coral reefs, octopus, those creatures. So by the time they were almost to shore, they were in very real danger of drowning. Several of the characters had been poisoned by the rock spinefish. Another one was swimming through the coral, getting cut and bleeding. And the end of that particular session, they were all in the process of drowning, and they blacked out, and each of them had a vision and revealing little bits and pieces about the Viking slavers and what was currently kind of going on the coast. And I made all that up on the spot. Then the next session, I began out with them on the beach, coughing up seawater. They all did perception checks. One of the players got high enough to see that they had been rescued by an aquatic elf. And then the campaign took off from there. So it wasn't very hard for me to set this up. I just had kind of the two general ideas, and I played off of how the players reacted and kind of what they gave me to work with on the characters, the background, stuff like that. Yeah. So that's really pretty much the standard session. Some other problems we discussed was making sure everyone takes turns speaking and having the character act, which we commonly refer to as being in the spotlight. Making things relevant to each player and each character, and making it things that the player can relate to. Because really that's what's gonna get the players hooked into playing the characters, playing the story and the setting, is if they can relate to the experiences and the feelings that the characters would be having. We discussed a little bit about dealing with problem players, such as people that aren't a good fit for the particular group, or who are just causing issues, arguing with the DM, things like that. Basically, I told Elizabeth if that situation rises, you put all them to the side during a group break or after the session. You talk with them, explain that's not suitable or behavior for your table, and they either need to fix it or find a group that suits the play style better. And I talked with her probably a good half hour on ways to or would things politely and how to avoid hurting the person's feelings, and yet getting her point across. So these are a few issues that can make DMing difficult. I hope some of the advice is useful. I'm sure there are plenty of great videos going more in depth, and I even have a few videos on my channel as well dealing with some of these issues. So, but I hope my viewers enjoyed this video response, and thanks, Elizabeth, for the question. I'm always happy to answer questions. So until next time, may the dice always roll in your favor.